Hey everybody, this week I took a couple of trades on gold and these were counter trend trades. So a lot of times on this channel when I talk about going with the trend, that's generally what you want to do. But in this case, I took a couple of counter trend trades and both of them worked out, especially because this past week, there were a lot of things happening inside of the market. And basically, I wanted to capitalize on both the uptrends and the downtrends. So when you've seen people take trades and they buy with the trend, of course that's great, but then they're also taking, so for instance, if they're taking buys first and then they take sales, and you're probably like, well, why are they doing that? How are they doing that? I want to know how to do it. This is how you do it. So in the two trades that I took, so this is pretty much what I did. So I have a funded account with a company and I mostly use this one account to focus on gold. So in the first trade, I did 3 lots and this was 0.5% gain. So you can do the math and figure out that. And then the second trade was almost 1% gain. So just from this one account, in these two trades, this is a really, really nice potential payday. So let's go ahead and break these down. I know my chart looks a little crazy, but the moves this week were crazy, so that's why. So anyway, so let's break it down. Let's look at this on the 30-minute time frame and then let's refresh. So I had a whole bunch of notes here and basically there's a lot of lines and all these lines are here for a reason. So let's just go back really quick. Go back to this area right before I took the trade, at least the first trade. All right, so generally, as we saw, price on gold is in an uptrend. We see that it's making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. The trend actually shifted a little bit right here, but generally in an uptrend on gold. So there was a CPI event. I did enter the market right before CPI. Didn't work out for me. I got so much slippage. So the gains from these two positions more than made up for that. So that's awesome, but still kind of annoying. So basically, when it came to CPI, which is the consumer price index, or basically an economic indicator of what inflation looks like inside of just the general economy at the moment, price fell down really, really hard and then bounced up off this level. So one of the trades I could have taken was a bounce trade. So when it comes to bounce trades, basically what you want to do is find a really strong support, or at least what I do, find a really strong support and then look for a signal for me to enter on the buys. I didn't want to take that trade, and mainly because of this CPI news event right here. So when it comes to the market and looking at structure, you want to look at what has happened in the past, has the potential to react again in the future. So when it came to the CPI candle, although price came all the way down here, I wanted to see if price came back up to this level, would it also sell off? Because it did when it was here, regardless of the news. All right, price came here and sold off. So I was looking for a trade around here and I wanted to also take the sell. So let's go ahead and see what happened. I'm just going to move this forward a little bit. We see that price came all the way back up into the zone where price sold off during CPI. So I was like, okay, this is great. So we got this really strong bullish candle. And even though price tapped into this higher level above the CPI candles, it still closed below this support. So looking at this on the 30-minute time frame, it's really clear as to what is happening in the market. We see post or before CPI, we got all this consolidation here. Price was really respecting this level at around 23.46, and here again respecting the level. Now it did break here, but then it came right back up. So, and then right here, the same level served as resistance. So I was like, okay, well, if it has behaved like this in the past and price has come up here and sold off, I want to take a sell here. Mainly because this bullish candle stopped right below this really strong level. We talked about all the stuff that has happened here in the past. What I saw here on the 30-minute time frame was basically another candle that shot up almost to where price went before on this really strong bullish candle. But the same thing happened. Price closed below this particular level. So I was thinking, okay, well, since we have a weak bullish candle here, we had a strong bullish, now we got a weak bullish, there is a possibility for price to continue down and do the exact same move that it did before. Let's see. So what I did was, once price broke below, and I'm going to draw this out, broke below this 30-minute candle, I entered for a sell. So let me put this on the screen right now. So right there. And then I forgot exactly how much my stop loss was. It was somewhere in here. And then I wanted to ride this all the way down. And I'll tell you what happened in a second. So if we forward the candle by 1, we can see there was just a straight drop down. And I was like, okay, nice, this is working out. And I remember experiencing some drawdown, just very little though. But thankfully, my stop loss was somewhere in this area. It was about 50 pips. So let's just put it right at 50, right there. So it was about 50 pips because I wanted to give my trade a little bit of room to breathe, especially because there was a lot of volatility with the CPI news event that happened, or a data release that happened right here. So I was like, okay, cool. So I did see that price broke and closed below this minor level. If we look over here, this is kind of in a zone, but it's a minor level as well. And I was like, okay, so there's a possibility for price to continue down. So let's see, let's forward by 1 more candle. Okay, so in this case, we have the second 30-minute candle. I'm still in the trade, and I noticed that price formed this weak bearish candle. So this is telling me that because price formed this weak bearish candle, that means that the volume inside of the bearish direction, or going down, it may be drying up. So what I did at that point is I went down to the 15-minute and I looked at how the candles were forming. So I was like, okay, so this candle, this 15-minute candle, closed below this little support, and it's still looking fine to me. So let's forward by 1 15-minute candle. Okay, cool, little bullish candle. Let's see. All right, let's see. This one, I don't think I held all the way to my TP, to be honest. So if I'm remembering correctly, okay, I remember that rejection. Okay, bam. Okay, cool. So you can see what happened. Like, price looked like it was trying to, let me move that out the way. Price was trying to come up above this minor support or resistance level, but it couldn't. And then it came all the way down and tapped the TP. So for me, I think I got out. I started to scale out of this position. So I think I took most of the position off the table somewhere in here. And then I think I got out. Let's see, this is 12. I want to say it was like somewhere in this candle. I didn't hold completely to my TP, and I wish I would have, but because it tapped it perfectly. But this was still a winning trade, still a really good trade, and was able to capitalize off of this trade. So that's trade number 1. So now let's go to a higher time frame and fast forward a bit so you can see trade number 2. You can see I got a lot of stuff on my on my chart. We're gonna clean this up a little bit later, and you'll see my breakdown in another video. So let me go back up. So basically, I saw that price tapped this area again. I did not take the trade, mainly because price went to this point during Asian session, and this was 10 o'clock at night, and obviously I'm not looking at the charts, so let's just fast forward to a time I'm actually looking at the charts. So then it tapped this area again. So you can see that pretty much price came to this area 1, 2, 3 times. So by the time I got to the chart, let's go right here. So I saw that price tapped into this area again. Let's go down to the 30-minute chart. Tapped into this area again. Once again, it formed a weak bullish candle. You can see all these bullish candles, but it tapped into this area again. It sold off before this time, and then the other time that I took the trade that I just talked about. So I saw this, so I wanted to wait for a signal. So okay, so that forwarded a little too fast. Let's go back to this candle really quick. Okay, so by the time I was looking at the chart, this is 8:30 a.m. and this is on Central Time USA. So this is also the time that the New York Stock Exchange also opens. So let's go down to the 15-minute. And you can see all of these candles right here are pretty much weak bullish candles. So I knew that at some point price will be dropping. So let's see if, okay, great. So once this bearish candle formed on the 15-minute time frame, I got ready to take my trade. I think this is the one. Let me make sure it's the right one. So let's just put our short position right at the bottom of this, set our stop loss above this candle, and then target down here. So, okay, great. All right, so now let's forward and let's see what happens. Wow, the next candle just slammed. And I remember taking most of my position off of the table when it got to this point, mainly because I saw, let me show this right here. I saw some rejections in this area. So I was thinking maybe price will reject at this level again. Wasn't 100% sure, but I wanted to take some money off the table just in case. So let's see what happens next. So price came down again. I remember taking a little bit more position off the table. I think I took at least 2 lots off here and then taking off another, and then having 1 position left because I had 4 lots. And then let's go down. So now you can see that price made this huge bullish engulfing candle. And then this is the point where I stopped out, because at some point I put a stop loss in profit here because I didn't want to see if price was going to come back up here and then maybe sell off again. So I was like, nope, I'm just going to take my money and run. And like I said before, over here, we can see some clear rejections of this level around 23.34, and price rejected there again. So the biggest idea here is whatever happens in the market can potentially happen again. So one of the things I would encourage you to do, and this is something that I've done myself, is to look at the market specifically on a higher time frame. So let's take the H4 time frame, and this is looking a little crazy right here, but take the H4 time frame. We see that generally we are in an uptrend here. We're making these higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So basically general market structure, we're in an uptrend clearly here. And one thing I would potentially look at is if we're looking to take a counter trend, if we're in an uptrend, where has price gotten to and then sold off? Because if we look at this height at this moment in time, the height is at 23.65, and price got up here, sold a little bit, tried to come up again and then sold off, and then came up, tried to tap into this level again, couldn't, but then it sold off tremendously. So that would have been a really nice counter trend. But basically, I like to look at the higher time frames and see the highest point that price has reached. So I'm looking at these wicks and seeing the highest point, because even though it looks like a wick on the H4 time frame, on a lower time frame such as the hour, the 30-minute, or even the 15-minute, you may see actual candles, and it may give you a signal as to whether or not you should enter in for that counter trend trade. So the other thing to know about a counter trend trade is that since it's a counter trend, it can reverse at any time. So that was one of the things that we saw in this trade that I took, that I took somewhere in here, where basically it was going down and then just kind of midway it shot up. And then if we look at the rest of the market, you can see that price went all the way up here, and I did take a trade up here and got out somewhere here because I wasn't looking at the market. I was on a phone call and wasn't able to get to my computer quickly, but still closed out in a profit, so happy for that. But basically, this is what happened. This is why you don't want to hold on to those trades that are counter trend trades. And you also want to make sure that you set a stop loss. Even if it's kind of big, you want to make sure that you set that stop loss, so that way this doesn't happen. I mean, imagine the drawdown if you didn't have a stop loss and this move happened. You would have been probably in a room crying or something, or curled up in a ball crying. So make sure you do that. So this is it for this video. Thank you so much. If you like this content, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.